Hey everybody, welcome back. It's been some time, hasn't it? You know, it. We look at life and we look at the adventures and the things that we go through in life, and sometimes we just don't understand it. Sometimes we don't understand why we go through and having to go through what we go through. But we must know that God is in control as long as we put Him there. You know, we have to start our day with giving the day to Him. We shouldn't even really make a move sometimes without seeking what He prefers us to do. If the job you're in, maybe it's not the job you're supposed to be in. Maybe you should seek the kingdom first. We sometimes we look at money and we go off of determinations of whether that is where it's going to be the best place for us, or we lose a chance to get a promotion, and we felt that we truly needed it. We deserved it basically. Sometimes it's not the case. Sometimes God, you're not ready for it. Maybe you're not really thinking about all the things that come with it. Trust me, I've been put in those positions, and sometimes I'm like, my gosh, I have no freedom. You're constantly phones ringing, constantly running into places, and you're constantly dealing with everyday life. You know, it starts to get to a point where it owns you instead of you enjoying what you do. I always say when work becomes work, I'm done. I always enjoyed work. I enjoyed landscaping. I enjoyed going out there and doing, planting new material and building, cutting new beds in and, just making somebody's yard look nice when we're leaving. It was the best feeling in the world. You could take something that was a mess and make something out of it. And see, that's kind of what God does with us. We're a mess, and He makes good out of us. We just got to be willing to let Him be that sculptor. We got to be willing to let Him do the pruning in our lives. We got to let Him do what needs to be done in our lives. And sometimes we don't allow that. We become very judgmental people. I went through an incident not too long ago with my oldest sister's husband. When you volunteer to do something to me, you don't throw that up in someone's face. You don't use something because it benefits how you want to do something. I don't understand how, if two people can't get along, okay? If two people butt heads, but yet you go on vacations together, you go to restaurants together, you do all these things together, but yet you don't want this person at your house. And you want to use that for the reason, but you're going to use me in that case so you can be put somebody else as a scapegoat instead of yourself. To me that's just a coward. It's a coward way out, and then to sit there and call me a hypocrite and the very things that he said pretty much. You know, they tend to forget sometimes when you have a part that you end up just buying another stove. So naturally, I keep elements, I keep all kinds of stuff off of stoves because you never know when you're going to need it. And it was a brand new part. So my sister's went out, so I drove out to her house. I was trying to explain to her to tell her husband how to do it. He didn't want to do it, basically. So I went out and put it in. It works. You forget what people do. And when we start forgetting what God does for us, what He did for us by sending His Son, what Jesus went through daily, then we lose the race. We lose, people. There's going to come a time when hell's going to be full of nonsense people. And there is another place in hell that I never really spoke about. And really, to be honest, I've never heard anybody else speak about it. And I've always been puzzled by that. Just like the Iron Gates. I've only heard one person go to the point of the Iron Gates, but never really spoke about what's on them. And I don't see how people can miss it. I mean, honestly, if you truly been there and you truly seen them gates and you truly stood there and looked at them, then you have to know what's on them. I mean, even the walls there, the brick that holds those gates, is the most uh, but we know there's the abyss, which where Lucifer's going to be, and then you also got the wasteland. I'm telling you right now, I would better go into the pits of hell, into the burning area of hell, than go to the wastelands of hell. And I know some of you probably ain't going to understand none of that, but I guarantee when you one thing, you will, because I'm going to speak on it. The Lord's been telling me to do it, and I didn't really want to do it. I really didn't want to go back into that area of life. But who am I to tell him? And I've been sitting here for a while, just going back and forth whether I wanted to do any more videos or, I've been seeking the Lord, and I've been going through a lot myself. I really don't have nothing nice to say about Walmart. They have done nothing but use their self-insured bullcrap. But in the end, I feel sorry for them, because everything they do to me, they do it to Jesus first. And whatever they do to Jesus, they do to God. So it flows downhill. God, Jesus, myself. I don't ever take out of effect what anybody has been through in life, but I can guarantee it. I've been through a lot, but I can't deal with much more of this. When you get to a point in life when you are ready to really lose almost everything, and it could happen. Might get to a point where you have to sell your house. Might get to a point where you have to sell everything in your house. But reality is possessions. Reality, it's how much stuff do you really need? I mean, do you use it all? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. All I know is, without God, there's no hope. None. Without Jesus going to the cross, we're lost. We're done. We take it lightly, a lot of people do. A little too lightly. And you may say, Nelson, that, I don't. Do you? It's easy to sit there and say, I don't. It's easy to point the finger at everybody else, because you're not like them. When you start judging people, it's horrible. I mean, it's got to be the worst feeling in the world. 8 minutes and 17, so it would have been 8 minutes and probably about 14. I was watching something just float around. Right about in that area. I don't know what it was. I just seen it again, but it was up on this part. Why is that? Where the hell's the camera at that it's not allowing me to do it? It's like right up in there when I just seen it again. It's not important. You ever have the people in life that every time you go to explain something, they have to tell you all about them? They ask you a question. How you feeling? Oh, let me tell you about this. Or it's the factor that people always have to bring themselves into it. And honestly, when you're talking about yourself, I don't know. Sometimes I bring other people into the factor, and and I do mention what other people go through. What other people go through. That's everyday life. You ever hear the saying? It's not what it seems to appear. You know, you could put on a smile, but inside you could be crying. I said that you guys remember back when I talked about the clowns. You know, one would have a happy face and really he's sad. The other one had a sad face and he's happy. Go figure. I mean, it's almost like they got it mixed up, but it's kind of like the Joker. You don't know. One minute he's this way, the next minute he's that way. It's like Two-Face from Batman. Turn his head, he looks one way, kind of like what's going on right here. So if I turn the face, it's this way. If I turn it this way, it's not. I don't really know what happened here. I don't know if this is some kind of rash or freaking spiders, man. I've had 2 of them crawling on me yesterday. I hate spiders anymore. I really do. I've never in my life seen so many spiders in one freaking house in my life. I mean, I literally put down, them glue traps that you can get. You can fold them up for the mice. I leave them flat. I just peel the sticky paper off and I stick them along the baseboards and stuff. You'd be surprised how many dang on spiders I kill, especially this time of year. It's nasty. But what are you going to do? Be thankful. Be thankful. Be grateful for everything you have. You know, people, tomorrow's not certain. It's not certain at all. There's no guarantee that we're going to go into tomorrow. There's no guarantee that we're going to achieve our dreams. You know, I've been saying it a lot lately. I'm done dreaming. You know, it's like sometimes you ever mention something and then somebody like pops that balloon for you. It's like, geez, you know. I don't know. You know, I always encourage people to follow their dreams. I always encourage people to, live life, get what they want out of life, and enjoy life. And sometimes it seems like when it comes to my life, it's like, you can't do it, something, or you only, I don't know. I don't even know how to put it into words. I'm just like, you just get to a point where you just basically then shut down. You know, it's like, but it's okay because I trust in God and I trust that whatever He wants me to do, it's going to happen. You know, I don't know where I'm going next. I don't know what I'm going to do next. I don't even know if I'll be in this place in a year from now. I don't even know if I'll even still be here. I think the rapture is going to happen before then. I truly do. But it's okay. I'm not scared. The only thing I'm fearful of is walking myself into hell. And every day I have to fight it. Fought some battles, man, these last few months. And I just don't understand sometimes how, I mean, I do because it's an evil world. But what I don't understand is how you can look at x-rays, you can look at MRIs, you can look at all this stuff. You can even speak what happens and ain't nobody doesn't, I mean, they just deny. It's almost like, well, it's Walmart. We're not going to go up against it. Where's the justification? We're living in the era when the Lord Jesus Christ told me when forward would be backwards and backwards forward, right would be left and left would be right, up would be down and down would be up. What does that mean? It means just because you're right doesn't mean you're right. You know, people can argue with you no matter what you say or do. I just say, well, have at it then. Because it takes 2 people to argue. You can argue with yourself. Good luck. You can stand there and listen to somebody scream and yell at you. If you could stand there and continue to smile, it's going to tick them off even more. Eventually, they get tired of yelling at you and they walk away. So that's where the saying, it takes a bigger man. Understand what I'm saying? So life is but a dream. What happens when you stop dreaming? What happens when you just don't care anymore? What happens when you feel like everything you do, like it's somebody's watching you, what you're doing? Uh, that Darlene went to meet her daughter, and a bunch more stuff got started and all this stuff, and I'm like, my gosh, man, you people aren't done yet. I mean, it's like my son was involved in it, and I'm just like, what is wrong with you people? You just can't even wrap your fingers around it. I mean, it's like it's almost like somebody's choking you, but then you basically pass out, and that's the only way I can describe it. It's horrible. Uh, you know, I just know no matter what, I got to always do the right things in life, and I always got to make sure everything's taken care of, even if I don't get anything out of it. I'm used to it, honestly. And I'm just used to just working. And, I got a lot of good compliments from uh, the lawyers and different people with all this stuff going on. I got a lot of good compliments about it. Speaking of which, check this out, people. I've been reading a lot of this. Heavenly Encounters by Randy Kay. You can get it on Amazon. I think you can go on his website. If you guys, it's 140 near-death and afterlife experiences. But listen to what he wrote about me. He basically he kind of took everybody's stories that's been on his show, and this is what he wrote about me. It's on page 40. See my name? I'm important, people. See that? Very nice of him. It just, I'm going to send him a message. Just what they wrote it's amazing. It says, a journey through hell and heaven. Nelson Robbins had lived with hell long before he died. It showed up daily throughout his childhood in the form of brutal beatings, nearly drowning, and being thrown through walls by the very people who were supposed to protect him. The trauma eventually led into the occult, where it reached for anything into the cult where he reached for anything that made him feel less powerless. Spirits that promise control become familiar voices to a boy who had never known safety. I didn't think about the demonic realm because I was always in it, Nelson reflects. He had attempted suicide more than once, hoping to escape the pain, but nothing had ever worked. This time, after another attempt to end his life, something felt different. As his spirit separated from his body, Nelson became aware of darkness, far from the real that he had ever imagined. Hell wasn't a topic from the theology class. It was a place of crushing despair where hope felt completely absent. The environment seemed alive with hostility. Screams echoed in the distance, isolating, wrapped around him with a suffocating heaviness. Every part of the experience communicated the same message. You didn't belong anywhere but here. There is no mercy. There is no escape. But even in the place of an ultimate abandonment, mercy found a way. An angel appeared, cutting through the darkness with light that didn't belong there. Its presence was steady and calm, offering a choice that would change everything. A reminder that God's authority can run deeper than any pit. When I saw the light, the angel told me, "If you go look, I can't help you from this point." Nelson recalls referring to the danger of turning back towards hell. But the story didn't end in hell. In a moment he could barely describe, heaven opened before him. The contrast of overwhelming light instead of darkness, the peace instead of torment, love instead of fear. Caught into God's presence, Nelson felt a love so pure that it dissolved decades of pain in an instant. I'm telling you, he is living, Nelson says. He is alive. He is with us. We just have to ask him. I tell you right now, to me, and I'm not just saying it because he put me in this book. I mean, first of all, I'm honored. I mean, I really am. I'm really honored that he would even, I mean, some of these people's, their testimonies are incredible. I mean, I don't even feel like I'm even worthy to be in this book, to be honest with you. But, wow. I mean, for him to put my life in a few sentences, that's incredible. I mean, my God, that looks like a big giant spider, man. This part of the basement always creeps me out. It's like I keep sucking up cobwebs. I bring the shop back down here, and it's just, ugh. Ugh. But anyways, it really made me feel good. It, it's the little things in life that makes me appreciate things more, I guess is a better way to put it. And I know God spared me for a reason. I just got to keep going and fighting until he tells me what that reason was, what it's for, what's he want me to do next. All I know is I'm grateful, I'm thankful, and every step I take, I owe it all to him. Every bit of it. I shouldn't be here now. I should be being tortured in hell. Who knows? I may just end up there. I try every day to be the best person I can be. Sometimes I wonder if it's going to be enough. I don't like to say I hope. I just keep faith no matter what. I keep faith. Sometimes I always said faith was my weak point, but faith is it's my strongest point now. You got to be broken, I guess, sometimes to understand faith, and you will. When I do that Wasteland video, it'll be the one after this. I'm finally just going to finish it and be done with talking about hell. Well, I'm never going to be done talking about hell. I retract that, and I do apologize. Because that's what we're here for, honestly. We're here to warn people to try to get them away from what they're doing. You could pop pills all night and day. You could take alcohol. You can take whatever your choice of poison is. And I'm gonna have to shut this off and go to bed. I am beyond tired right now. I go in there, lay down, and then I'm I'm wide awake. Makes no sense, does it? But anyways, thank you guys for sticking around. Thank you for the ones that stayed on the roller coaster. I appreciate you. If you're still here and you've been on the roller coaster for a while, give me a thumbs up. Give me a comment. And like always, if anybody's watching the old videos, if you guys like them, give it a thumbs up. Share it. The thumbs up continues a lot of this stuff to move. It continues to let YouTube forward these messages and stuff. So I can do my end. I just ask you guys to help me. And we'll see where we go in life. But stay tuned for that hell video. I'll start working on it tomorrow, and I'm hoping I can get it done in one shot. But I mean, I'm not going to do a 2-hour video on it. I mean, if it's going to break down to that, then I'll do a part 1 and 2. I might even do a part, like, depend. If I feel like it's going to go into 2 hours, I might just do a 30-minute, 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 30-minute. That way it sinks in and you're not listening to, because I really want you to take all this in, and I want it to be fresh in your head, every word of it. Because I got a feeling there's going to be somebody that's going to see these videos. And again, it's going to take you to share these videos. It's going to take you to subscribe, people. I didn't realize all what subscribing and all this stuff does for a channel. But don't even think about you doing it for me. Think about you doing it for God. And I'm not just trying to suck you into subscribing to this channel or anything else. I'm saying there's more to it than what meets the eye. Because I just thought, big deal, But, I put a lot of work in these videos. I honestly do. I mean, I might not have all the fancy-dancy, inserts that they can put into videos, or, crop things and mow the fields and feed the pigs and all that happy-go-lucky stuff. Exaggerating, but either way, God bless you guys. I love you. To the next one.